welcome back to Ash Creativity. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to paint donuts in watercolor. I'm using 400 GSM cold pressed paper, brushes, and Camlin watercolor tubes. The first thing we're going to do is draw the donuts. I'm drawing them freehand, but you could trace if you'd like. On a few donuts, I'm going to make a wavy line around the edges for the frosting. First, I'm going to mix together burnt sienna and burnt umber in equal proportion. Then I'm going to add a little bit of yellow ochre and vermilion hue. Then I'm going to add white to make it a light brown color. I'm going to use this light brown color to paint the edges of a few donuts. For this donut, I'm mixing together Prussian blue and cobalt blue, and I'm going to dilute this color with water, and I'm going to start painting the donut. You want to make the top of the donut lighter than the corners or the edges of the donut, so I'm going to add more pigment to the corners than I am to the top. Keeping the top lighter and the edges darker will create the illusion of a curved surface. While the blue donut dries, I'm going to go ahead and paint another one. This time I'm using carmine, and I'm going to paint it the same way. I'm going to dilute it, and then I'm going to paint the edges darker than the top. this donut a mixture of yellow ochre and chrome yellow. Once the donuts are completely dry, I'm going to use my brush to brush water over each donut. Then I'm going to darken the edges of each donut. For example, for the blue donut, I'm mixing Prussian blue, cobalt blue, and a little bit of carmine to create a dark indigo color, and I'm going to use this color to paint the edges. For the pink donut, I'm mixing carmine with a little bit of cobalt blue to create a dark purple, and I'm going to use this color to paint the edges. For the yellow donut, I'm going to mix chrome yellow with a little bit of carmine to create an orange shade, and I'm going to use this to darken the edges. Now I'm going to move on to the donuts with the frosting. So for the first donut, I made a wavy pink brushstroke over the donut. This is a sort of decoration, and I'm going to fill in the rest of the area with a dark brown. I'm going to make the dark brown using burnt sienna and burnt umber. decided to make the next donut a light pink, so I'm going to mix together carmine and a lot of Chinese white, and I'm going to make a light pink color, and I'm going to paint this over the frosting area. Once all the donuts are completely dry, you can add other decorations on them, like sprinkles or chocolate. Once I'm completely done decorating my donuts, I'm going to wait for them to completely dry, and then I'm going to mix together Chinese white with a little bit of black to create a very light gray color. I'm going to use this light gray to paint the whole background. I'm going to make it a little darker just around the donuts to make them pop.